Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries with Tanya E. Hood. We are live, and I know if you listen to this morning's episode, then you realize we had a special guest. Well, Elizabeth Kisser will not be able to join us this evening, but if you listen to this morning's episode, then she gave us some great information about how to unpack our inner powers, the things that you can do to change your life to make certain that you go through the experiences, but come out on the other end in a better fashion. She gave us some scientific terms this morning, like going through your journey with the neurodivergent element to learn how to untap your true potential. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, she defined neurodivergent in this morning's episode. So listen to this episode and hear what she has to say. But for those of you that have not yet had the opportunity to listen, there's a few things I want to touch base to give you some insight because she gave some key components. I am not going to be able to rehash all of that now, so you can still listen. But I want to give you a few takeaways, moments that she shared to support you. Because if you're an individual that is struggling with how to have practical tips to deal with the trauma that you've had in your life, maybe you were that little girl, a little bit like me. You very intelligent, got a lot going on with you, but you weren't really effective about how to communicate your hurt or your pain. And for some of us, it looked like those things that they call ADHD because you acted it out instead of working it out or being taught how to walk through that process. Some of the medical issues that people like to diagnose as learning disabilities often come from them not really knowing how to help you fully express yourself. Well, this morning, Elizabeth Kisser gave us some insight about recognizing how the trauma that you have that can be manifested physically, you have the opportunity to turn that into a superpower by learning how to harness what's necessary in your being. And there's a key component that she shared that gives you an opportunity to know how to unlock that so that you can have an empowering moment. When you She said that when you uncover the truth about neurodivergence and how it can transform your perceived weakness into unique superpowers, it is there that you can embrace your strength and know your differences. I didn't understand enough about what that meant because I didn't have anybody like Elizabeth giving me insight that, hey, you do have a way that your brain works in a little bit of difference than others. Because being dyslexic back then, the terms weren't really told to you when you were little. They gave you all these different tests, kept telling your parents you had to go through all these different things, but you weren't really informed about what you were supposed to do. Now, one of the reasons why I know that occurs is so that you don't feel like you're really that different. But if you are like me, then you already knew that you were different. But if you had people in your world, people that gave you love, that encouraged you, that helped you explore that part of your being and not make you feel less than. It was there that you gained an internal element that gave you a superpower to help you spur on the rest of your life. Now, being a dyslexic nerd sounds like a real oxymoron, but it is a real thing because I'm not the only one. But you're not always told that. Here's the thing that I learned about my abilities. When I see a certain word, the way it's captured in my brain the first way is often a way to help me simplify that. And I've learned to maximize the use of those elements to get me into a better position moving forward. So, having an electrical engineering degree gives me the ability to simplify some of those terms and things that I was walking through. It was what Elizabeth Kisser was saying earlier, the neurodivergent pathways that our brain put in place to support us on our journey. Because if you walk through experiences that are a little bit off keister to those things that are around you, your big, beautiful brain has a way of supporting you on the journey so that you can get into a better position. So that what may look like a little off, that is a way of getting you to connect better with others, to be more empathetic with others. Because some of you, like me, you have an empathy within your soul where you can recognize the person sitting on the opposite side of the room. They're quiet, And often because they're quiet, people don't immediately recognize that they exist, but you do. You know that they're there because there's a piece of who you are that recognizes and captures and taps directly into that being. Because lots of times it was you. It was you sitting in the corner because no one knew what to do with you. It was you sitting on alone, feeling like you were ostracized, cast into the back corner somewhere because people didn't know how to support you on the journey. Well, in this morning's episode, Elizabeth Kisser gave us some ways to deal with those neurodivergent traumas. That's what she was talking about. The healing techniques that she talked about was essential to helping you calm your body. She gave a few techniques about working through the process. One immediate thing that she shared was to breathe. When we are in chaotic situations, we often hold our breath. It's subconscious. And the body does that to pause you so that it can assess what's happening around you. But some of us don't recognize that that's happening or capture it quick enough to take a breath. So she shared with us, breathe. Just a small moment of taking a breath brings in the oxygen into your body, fills your lungs, helps you stand a little bit taller. And she shared in this morning's episode, like if you take a stance, the one that we call the power stance, the one that Superman and Wonder Woman, all our superheroes, that stance that they take to give you assurance. Yeah, if you stand like that, your chest is up. Your breath is filling the cavities of your body, and you can begin to think. You feel more empowered. You are more encouraged because you've got oxygen running through your body, supporting you, letting you know, oh, we're breathing well. So this situation that we're facing right now, oh, it's not going to take us out. Just changing small little elements in your being can support you better on the journey. And she gave so many other things. Let's see, one of the things that she shared, pulling it up here, she said, using your spiritual beliefs to find the purpose in who you are at the core of your being supports you on the journey. And that was something that resonated with me because a lot of you know, that is how I got through my traumatic experience. You see, in the aftermath of my divorce, that moment of my life was the lowest that I felt that I've ever been. I lost elements of my being, so I did not know how to reset. I wasn't sure how I could truly connect with those around me because the people that I thought would help me and walk with me through the storm, they did not. Some of them didn't walk because they didn't know how. Some of them didn't walk because they felt like they were choosing sides. Some of them didn't walk because they were in the same boat. And if you're walking around with individuals, it's like three blind mice trying to get somewhere. None of you can see, but you know you need to get somewhere. Somebody has to intervene on your behalf to get you through that journey. And mankind can't always do it because there are pieces that are stuck in the recesses of your soul that you have never let anybody know. There was a past childhood trauma that Elizabeth shared. And unfortunately, a lot of us walk into some similar experiences. It was some of my childhood traumas that my adult self was walking through trying to live out in the aftermath of my divorce. And until I chose to stand and face it. And I know it's not easy. You don't really want to face the demons that have been constantly coming at you all your life. But there does come a time when you must choose. And when you choose to face it, you don't have to do it alone. This is where she shared that bringing together a belief in something greater than yourself. And for her and I, that's Jesus Christ. And I often say, if you let Jesus join you on the journey, you'll get to a better position because he knows who you are at the core of your being. And for a little while, you may have to just rely on the things that God says about you. She shared that makes us fearfully and wonderfully made. I love that in Psalm 139 because it is there that I am reminded that even though there's chaotic situations, because the one that wrote that psalm was David, Some of you that know the stories about David, it's David and Goliath. A lot of people know that story. If you've never ever read the Bible, you got that story. But here's the thing about David that a lot of people don't recognize. You see, he was able to face that giant because when he was out taking care of his father's sheep in the background, when nobody saw him, when nobody went looking for him, when nobody considered him, maybe you were part of David's past. Nobody's looked at you. Nobody's considered you. You're the last of all the individuals, the last in your family, the last in those around you, and nobody considers you. See, when you walk through some traumatic experiences in your life, you often feel like that. But it was there that David honed his spiritual patterns of growth. It was the growth and confidence in who God said he was, because no one believed that this little dude would fight a 9-foot giant. But the God in him said that you are powerful. The God in him said that you are strengthened. The God in him said, I know what I put in you. And now it is time for you to put it in the earth. What's inside of you that you still got to work through? You don't have to do it alone. In this morning's episode, Elizabeth gave a couple of more techniques, and I'm hoping that you go back and you listen. And when you do, make certain that you connect with her, because she's offered a free resource to everyone that listens. Give her a call, contact her on her website, and the information that is shared inside of this morning's episode. Because there, when you express to her what traumatic experience you may be walking through, there's a resource that she has been able to provide because she has over 35 years of experience dealing with traumatic ADHD syndromes that the body has developed off of somatic issues. She can give you some insight because the physical manifestation that you're experiencing and been displaying, you don't have to keep walking through that. I know there are moments that I share that I have my undiagnosed ADHD moments. But I also recognize that I've learned some things to press through because I did have somebody when I was growing up, Miss Anderson, to help me. There were some techniques that she gave me to walk through my dyslexia so I can get through that learning disability. But I've having a conversation with Elizabeth let me know that there are so many more techniques that could help me with the focusing part that I still struggle with a little bit. So if you are looking for some new ways, other ways, different ways of positioning you, and you may find yourself a little scattered here and there, or not really knowing how to face your Goliath moments, reach out. Leave your comments below because even though Elizabeth can't be with us today to have the discussion, she will go back and look at the comments. So please leave, tongue-tied, leave your comments below. Her information is also in this morning's episode. And after this is over, I will take the time to transfer that information here so it can be listed here as well. In the meantime, like, comment, and share this if any of it has resonated with you or you thought of someone along the way that could use the insight and some support. These episodes are done to support you on the journey. And if there's more that can be done, just let me know. And we'll walk through that process. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.